Hi, y'all. So it's been a minute since I put a video up. So I've been deciphering Psalms 91. So we're going to spend a few minutes breaking down Psalms 91. First and foremost, what is Psalms 91? Well, it's a psalm of protection. Ultimately, it's a psalm for protection against evil or from evil forces, the evil forces that surrounds us. That's what Psalms 91 is, a protective prayer protection. I have it right here on my phone, Psalms 91, right? So I'm going to share something with you guys. So the first verse says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." That's verse one. We can stop right there. There's so much in there, so much magic, so much in verse one. I'm gonna read it again. He that dwelleth. Stop. Now the word. Now we're gonna break it down. We're gonna decipher it. We're gonna decode, declassify. We're gonna get some empowerment. We're gonna break it down right to its minute, right? We're going to break it down to its lowest denominator, and we're going to get the nutrients out of this so that we can empower ourselves against the dark forces. So, he that dwelleth in the secret place. The word dwell is what's interesting. I want to look at two words in verse 1, dwell and the word abide. I want to flush out both words and really get to the etymological, like what's the distinction between both words, because they're similar. Dwell and abide are very similar. No, they're similar, but they have we're going to get the specificity of the meaning so that we can know exactly what this means. So, and we're going to look at the word secret. We're going to break that down, and we're going to break down the word place. So, he that dwelleth. Now, the word dwell. If I say to you, what is your dwelling? Where is your dwelling? Dwell means to take up residency, a permanent address. That's what dwell. Your dwelling is your house. It's where you live, right? So you might be staying in Queens, but you dwell in Brooklyn. Because your residency, your address, your mail goes to Brooklyn, even though you might be staying in Queens or whatever, or wherever you are. So dwelling is a permanent residency. That's where you live. Uh, Abide, I'm going to use the same example. I might be abiding in Queens, but my dwelling is in Brooklyn. So abide means you stay somewhere, you're continuing somewhere, right? Abide means to continue in something, to continue in or to remain in, uh, yeah, or to be fixed into something. So that's a distinction. Dwelling is a registry. You have an address where your mail goes. That's your house. Dwelling. Abide. The difference is again abide. I dwell in Brooklyn, but I'm abiding in Queens at the present moment. I'm staying in Queens. I'm continuing in Queens. I'm abiding. I'm continuing in we're in Queens. I'm abiding in Queens. So simply means I'm staying in this area in Queens. But my dwelling is in Brooklyn. See, so there's a distinction. It's subtle, but there's a distinction. We want to make it real clear. So the first verse, he that dwelleth in the secret place. Now, secret place. What's the secret place? Now we know what a secret is, right? Secret is something that's concealed. It might be hidden or mysterious. It's not it's not readily known or comprehended. So it's a secret. Not everybody knows about it. Something concealed. Secret place. Now we know place is a location, right? Geographical location, an area, a domain. So a place is a geographical location, an area, or a domain. So secret place. So this means there's a domain, a dimension, area, right? That is secret, secret place. So he that dwelleth. Now we're going to break it down into baby language. He that dwelleth. Told you, dwelleth means what? Lives, where you live. He that lives in the secret, not known to everybody, place, a location, area, or geographical domain. So he that lives in this concealed secret, concealed place, area, right? Or another word for place can be state, right? A state is a condition, a frame, state of mind, a condition, right? So he that lives in this concealed state, uh, which is another word for place, of the Most High. Most High here means uh, the highest thought. It is your highest, most noblest thinking that you can have. Most High, secret place of the Most High, the most highest thought, your highest thinking. You have low thoughts, right? They're called base or primitive thoughts or carnal thoughts or uncultured, unsophisticated, barbaric thoughts, right? So when you behave in ways that are animalistic, those are low thoughts. When you behave in ways that are divine and shows your divinity, those are high, most high thoughts. So he that dwelleth lives in the secret, unconcealed location, the most high, your thoughts, the highest thoughts shall abide. Abide, I told you, means to continue in. Under, that means abide under. So you will continue under the shadow. Shadow means shade. Here, the word shadow, we know what a shadow is. Shadow in this context means shade. You will abide under the shade, which is shadow. You will abide under the shade of the Almighty, which is God. Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Now, here's what gets interesting. You think I'm done? I'm just getting warmed up. Secret place. What is the secret? I said it's something that's not concealed. But what is it? Right? What is the secret place? The word place means state. State, place, synonymous, means the same thing. Right? I'll give you an example. My place is in Virginia, right? Virginia is, I'm in New York, but my place where I live, my house is in Virginia. Virginia is considered a state, just like New York is a state. State and place can be used synonymously. Where do I live? Where's my place? In the state of Virginia. See how it works? So, what is the secret state? Now, we're not talking about a geographical location here. I use that to give you an example. We're talking about a frame of mind, a condition of thinking. What is this? We all familiar with the term. We got our song, a New York state of mind, right? What is the state of mind? That's what this means here. When it says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place," which means secret state, which means unconsidered. What is the secret state of the Most High? The Most Highest thought, Most High shall abide. He that dwelleth in the secret place, Most High. Most High, I told you, means highest thought, your highest state of consciousness. You are dwelling in the highest state of consciousness. You are living. Dwell means to live. So you have your address is in the highest state, most highest state of consciousness. See how we go? This is verse 1. Still on verse 1. Here's the secret. The secret is this. The secret is found in verse 2. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. Why is the answer in verse 2? Because verse 1 says the secret place. Secret is the knowledge. The secret is a refuge, which is in verse 2. He is my refuge. Secret is a refuge. A refuge is a place of safety, security. Camp where people that's being persecuted in another country, they might set up a refugee camp. It's a place of security and safety and protection. So so the secret is this. The secret is a knowledge. What is this knowledge? The knowledge is a refuge, a safe place. Wait a minute. Okay, elaborate, continue, right? All right, well, the secret is a knowledge. We know, okay, well, it's knowledge is refuge. Okay, well, what is the knowledge? The knowledge is this. This is what's called secret. It's found in Colossians chapter 1, I think, verse 15. It says, in times past, uh, The mystery has been hidden throughout the ages from generations to generations from Gentiles, but is now revealed to the saints. And here is the mystery that Christ in you. There's more, but that's the mystery in you. The secret is this. The secret is a refuge. Which is this knowledge. This knowledge is knowing. Ginosko means knowing. The Greek word for knowledge is ginosko, knowing. It's knowing. Here's the knowledge that there's an indwelling Christ is in me. Christ is in me. The indwelling Christ. That's the secret. Indwelling. Most of us, we were always taught that God is up in the sky somewhere. I know I was. We're all taught that God is up in the sky, some God of somewhere up there. But the secret is that there is no God up there. That Christ, Jesus, God, which I believe is God in form and flesh, is indwelling. The secret is that, oh, this is good, this is good. The secret that you're dwelling, meaning you're living in the knowledge that the indwelling Christ resides inside of me and you. That's it. That's the secret place. You dwell in that secret place. Place again, like I said, can be a state. So you're dwelling, you're living spiritually, right? Physically, I live here in Brooklyn somewhere, but spiritually, I live in my mind, in my psychology, in my most high thinking thought patterns and consciousness. I dwell in the knowledge, in the refuge, which is this knowledge that God is inside of me. The indwelling spirit of Christ is within me. All right? He is my refuge and my fortress. This knowledge that he's in me now becomes my refuge. That's why I said the knowledge is the refuge. And knowing is your protection. And here's what it protects you from. You ready? Surely, verse 3, he shall deliver me from the snare traps of the fowler is a hunter, and from the noisome pestilence, diseases, sicknesses. Now, he will deliver me from the snare of the fowler. Here's why he delivers you from the trap. When you're dwelling, we're going to go back to verse 1. When you're dwelling, you live in this knowing, knowledge, which is your refuge, your protection, that the Christ indwells within you. As long as you stay focused, fixed with your eyes on that knowledge, that knowing, then verse 3, he will deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, right? You will be protected from the snare of the fowler. A snare is a trap. Fowler is a hunter. Now, this is metaphoric, it's parabolic. The Bible must be interpreted as a parable, as a metaphor, meaning the word parable comes from the Greek, means to put story beside another story for a comparison. So parable is a story is a second story to the first story. And if you're not getting the second story, you're missing the whole story. So to understand the story to the story, you have to read it parabolically and understand that there's a meaning to the meaning. There's a story to the first story, right? That's what the Bible must be interpreted that way, right? There's a second story to the first story. So it's a story beside a story used for comparison. That's what the parable means. The Bible must be interpreted metaphorically and parabolically. You can't interpret it literally because he's not delivering me. Well, none of us right now are being hunted by a fowler, which is a hunter. I'm not being hunted physically right now by anybody, but I'm being hunted spiritually. So he will deliver you from the psychological snares. All of us experience trauma in our lives. Every human being experiences some form of trauma. There's different types of trauma. You might have not experienced a direct physical trauma, but if you've lived through 9/11, you've seen that's what's called psychological trauma. Right? Some people were afraid to get on planes, get back on the trains, go back into the city. These are traumas. Traumas are any kind of wounds to the physical body or to the psychological body. So uh, he will deliver thee from the snares of the fowler, which means any kind of psychological attacks. It could be physical, but in this story to the second story to the first story, right? The meaning within the meaning is that it is more of a psychological protection against your psyche, right? So he will deliver you from the traps of your own thinking, the traps of the hunter for your mind, right? Which is could be social media, society at large, the music we listen to, the movies we watch. All these things influence us, and they don't influence us in necessarily good ways. So he will protect you and deliver you from that, right? The psychic warfare, he will protect you and deliver you from that. Listen to this. Verse 4, he shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Buckler and shield are interchangeable, they're synonymous, means the same thing. So, his, now it's interesting. This is interesting, so bear with me. It may be a fact that I'm sick physically. Fact! I go take my temperature and I'm at 101 degrees. I'm sick. Got a fever, a flu, whatever. I am sick. It is a fact that I'm sick. But it's not the truth. That's why it says here. Now, it could be a fact that I got no money in my bank account. I'm broke. Fact. But it's not the truth. It's not the truth. I'm going to explain. Thou shalt, he says, he shall cover thee. I'm going to read it again, verse 4. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Shield and buckler, again, mean the same thing. His truth. There's a difference between, we're going, like I said, with deciphering. There's a difference between truth and facts. Right? There's a difference between truth and facts. Fact, this is me coining my definition. This is my own imagination spewing out something. Facts are what is in front of me. I can touch it. It's a fact. I got my thermometer that says 101. I can touch my body. I'm hot. I'm sweating. These are all facts. I'm sick. Facts. But it's not the truth. Why it's not the truth is because the spirit within me. Remember, he that dwelleth in the secret place, which is the knowledge that God is in you. So the God that is in me, the indwelling Christ that is in me, cannot get sick. The indwelling Christ in me is not subjected to any of the mechanisms, machinery, or happenings, or happenstance, chance, whatever, of this dimension. So though my physical body is subjected to the laws of this realm and has to act in accordance with the laws of this realm, not my spirit body. Because man is a triunity. A triunity of man, mind, body, and soul. So the body, facts, is subjected to the facts. The physical is subjected to the physical. But the spiritual does not concede, yield, or surrender to the laws of this physical dimension in which I exist. So truth trumps the facts. So though it might be a fact that I have no money in my bank account, it's not truth. Here is truth. This is how truth operates now. The truth is this: let the poor say, I am rich. That's truth. Though the fact says I might be temporarily broke, Spirit says, let the broke say, I am rich, because my words create my reality. So facts might be my bank account is depleted, but truth is my bank account is overflowing. Truth trumps facts. Though my body might be physically sick, here's what I was instructed because I dwell, I live, I reside in the secret place of the Most High. And here's what I was instructed: let the weak say, I am strong. Ergo, let the sick say, I am whole, healthy, healed. Facts. The doctors just gave me a prescription. Facts. The doctors just diagnosed me with this and that and whatever. But truth trumps facts. Truth is I am healthy. I am whole. I am strong. Facts, I might be weakened at the moment because my body is weakened from the illness, but the truth is I am strong. And this is what I'm instructed according to scripture, right? The scripture says, let the weak say I am strong. Let the poor say I am rich. So what's happening, studying this, what's happening is we have to dwell, take up residence, make sure you live in that secret place, which is that knowledge that the indwelling Christ is in you, which is your refuge, so that you can speak truth to facts. So it don't matter what appearances are. I appear to be sick. By all intents and purposes, I am sick. By all intents and purposes. Well, I can say that because I know how to cross out in my mind and spirit. I know how to cross out words. I can say I am sick because of the facts. But I know the truth is I am whole. I am healed. And my spirit trumps my physical. So my spirit will bring healing to my physical because my spirit is who I truly am. This is a shell and it's subject to spirit. Now let's continue. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flies by day. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. Insomnia, give you a perfect example. Insomnia keeps a lot of people awake. I've overcome, I've overcame it. I've overcome I used to have insomnia. Yeah. Uh, used to. I don't have it anymore. Uh, but there's some nights it creeps in. I'm not gonna lie, some nights it gets the best of me. But insomnia, I don't take any pills or anything like that, but I've learned how to, through meditation, through, my mantras, my spiritual practices, I've learned to overcome insomnia. I know exactly what it is and how to combat it and overcome it. But there are a lot of people who haven't, and a lot of people who are stuck on pills, etc. So insomnia would be the terror by night. When you see the word night, night means darkness, darkness means ignorance. So here, the terror by night is your own ignorance that you don't have to stay up late at night worrying about tomorrow because God got you, right? But most of us are not dwelling in that secret place. When you dwell, again, when you live inside of God, when you live there, then these things won't have the same impact and effect. You learn how to overcome these things easier. This is terror by night, which is insomnia, or the worries, the anxieties. You don't have to fear those. Nor for the arrow that flies by day. The arrow by day is interesting. Here's the thing. We all know what arrows are. Clearly, like I said, this is a story within a story. You have to get the second story to the first story, right? A story besides a story, a meaning besides a meaning. Because none of us are dodging physical arrows right now. So this must be metaphoric. And we know arrows are pointy darts that, pierce your skin and wound you and possibly kill you. Uh, so here, the arrows here means this. By day, the words that people speak about you. You ain't got to be afraid of the things that people say about you. You don't have to be troubled, bothered, perturbed, disturbed, perplexed, bewildered, mystified, right? You don't have to be in no way, shape, or form shaken by the things people say. These things people say are the arrows that flies by day. People send spirits at you because they speak evil at you. That's them shooting their arrows at you, right? When you have what's called intestinal fortitude, that intestinal fortitude is again, we're going back to verse 1. He that dwelleth, lives in the secret, which is the knowledge that God is within. When you stay in that knowledge, when you are conscious that God is inside of you, God lives inside of you. Paul says it this way: in him we live, move, and have our very being. When you're conscious that God lives, Jesus says it this way: I and the Father are one. I pray that they be one like I and the Father are one. That's Jesus' way of telling you that you and Jesus are one the way he and the Father are one. There's a oneness. It's called a one-ship sonship. And when you grasp that, You know what's interesting? If I tell people, sometimes I tell people this, they think I'm nuts. And they'll say, no. I was talking to somebody this morning about, God within. And it was like, no, God is up, God is out. They did exactly that. Their hands, body language. They're like, God is outside. God is up there. That's what, and the person's 50 years old. So we're not talking about like a kid, grown adult. And that's a result of the history. We know how that goes. European and what we've been taught, blah, 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 blah. It's nonsense. There is nothing out there. Nothing. It's all in here. Keep your eyes on the within. Moses said it this way. Uh, who will go up to, back then, Israel, even today, it's the same thing, but in context wise, we can get the meaning. Israel, they worshipped everything. Everything. The stars, the moon. That's why you have Moon Monday. You have a Sun Sunday. Right? There's a lot of worship. Right? Remember, he came down. They had the golden calf. They worshipped everything. Right? The things in the ocean. Right? Fecundity, the fish, very abundant in terms of spawning. So they would worship that. They worshipped everything. And so Moses was saying to them, and this was sarcasm to paint a point. Who will go up into the skies and bring God down to us so that we'll know his laws? Or who will go into the ocean and bring him up to us so that we'll obey his command? And he said to them, no. That was sarcasm, right? He's being rhetorical. He wasn't really asking for them to answer. He was being rhetorical. He says, no, because he's not up there and he's not down there. This is Bible. This is Bible. Deuteronomy, I think, chapter 28 or somewhere in Deuteronomy. Look it up. He says, no, he is not down there or up there. He is in your mouth. John chapter 1, that's what that means. In the beginning was the Word. He's in your mouth. What's in your mouth? The Word. John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word. And what does it say? The Word was with God and the Word was God. So Moses is telling them that God is in your mouth. The words you speak. That's why you got to hear his words. The word you speak. And he says, he is in your heart. I tell people all the time, heart means subconscious mind. Right? There's one mind, but the mind is divided in various parts. But it's one mind. You have your subconscious, you have your superconscious, you have your conscious. So you have subconscious, you have conscious, and you have superconscious. Right? So Moses, so whenever you hear or see the word heart, it means your subconscious. So he says, he is in your heart. He is within you, in your mouth, in your that can't you. It doesn't get any clearer than that for me. That's not metaphoric, right? Well, it is metaphoric because it doesn't mean your literal heart. It means your subconscious mind, and it doesn't mean your literal mouth. It means the words you speak, which is all internal, as opposed to somewhere up in the constellations, the stars, worshiping Mars, Venus, and the solar system, because this is what they did. They worshiped everything, right? So Moses had to condemn that. He said, no, he is with. So this is important, very vitally, critically important that we get that, right? Because it empowers you on how to fight against the spiritual forces that's going to come up against you, and they're sure to come. Make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You might as well just get ready, get prepared. Uh, says, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that waits at noonday. Noonday means open attack, middle of the day, wide open attacks. You're gonna get open attacks, pestilence that walk in darkness. That means you're gonna get attacks unaware, darkness, ignorance, not known. So you're gonna attacks, diseases are gonna come at you walking. When it says walking in darkness, that means you gotta watch some girls out there. And for the ladies, you got to watch some guys out there. He might look good, but he has a pestilence. Pestilence is just any kind of sickness, plague, disease, STDs, right? And it says walk it. So walk it lets me know it's being personified. Because pestilence is a disease. And like I said, you got to interpret everything as a parable, story within a story. You got to get the second story to the first story, or you're missing the whole story, right? Get the second story to the first story, or you're missing the whole damn story. So pestilence that walketh in darkness is symbolic. It represents people coming at you that have diseases that you don't know about. Why? Because it's the word darkness is in here. Walketh is what lets you know there's a personification. Because pestilence can't walk, right? It's a disease. So in order for it's interesting, like a virus can't replicate without a host, right? A virus needs a host in order for it to reproduce itself. Because viruses are DNA. And they can't replicate without a cell with what's called a ribosome, ribosome, excuse me, which is what creates replicates the DNA into proteins. So the pestilence that walketh is what lets you know that it's telling you that it's a person. Pestilence personified. That's what that means. Pestilence in corporeal form, incorporated in human form. It walks. So that means, again, fellas, watch for these ladies that coming at you. You don't have to be afraid of the diseases that's coming at you by means of people. That's what that means. Right? As long as you're dwelling, remember, go back to verse 1, he that dwelleth. As long as you're dwelling in that knowledge that God's with, he will protect you from the pestilence that walk in darkness, late night. You can't see them. That's what darkness here means. Ignorance of the pestilence coming at you. She looks good, amazing, beautiful, but it's pestilence. Carrying us as a carrier. HIV, STDs, gonorrhea, some kind of pestilence, right? So you don't have to fear that if you're dwelling in the secret place. It'll give you discernment, right? To guide you, navigate you, to you know what I'm saying? To dip, right? So only, oh, okay. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come near thy dwelling. This is interesting. When I read this, I was like, what do you mean 1,000? Like people, 1,000 people fall at my right? Then I started meditating. Well, here's the thing. Within you, whoever's watching, if somebody's watching, within you personally, there is a multitude of thoughts. Multitude. I mean, innumerable thoughts within you. It's called frequency. Right? It's like your phone, right? You got 5G, you got 4G. You know the amount of gigs, right? Right? There's a tremendous amount of gigs that our computers and our phones use. Well, think of it like that. You have a multitude of thoughts, innumerable amount of thoughts in you. And when this says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee, but it shall not come near thee. It simply means this: that all those thoughts that are within, around us, frequencies, whatever you want to call them, 10,000 fall at your right hand, meaning that they will fall in a spiritual sense. They will come at you, but they won't be able to penetrate you, right? Because you got to remember, there's something called subliminal messaging, where we're being fed information below our level of awareness. And when you're dwelling in the secret place of God, the Spirit, remember, God the Spirit, they that worship Him must worship Him in what? Spirit and truth. So the Spirit of God that you're dwelling in is going to serve as, it says it here, your shield and your buckler mean the same thing, your shield. So when you're sleeping, when you're just on your day-to-day basis, you're being fed. All of us, we're constantly being fed thousands, multitudes of thoughts all the time. Whether it's by TV, social media, just we might be walking outside, especially if you're in the city. If you're in a city, let's say like an area that's has high electrical density, like Times Square. Oh, you're being fed. You are being fed a gazillion, gazillion, trillion, bazillion, bazillion thoughts and frequencies because there's a lot of electromagnetic frequencies in those areas. So you and I, our dendrites, our cells are communicating with that. So we're picking up information all the time and translating and transmitting it all throughout our bodies, right? So, but a 10,000 shall fall at thy right hand. That means thousands of those thoughts will fall from you. They will not penetrate you. Provided, verse 1, he that dwelleth. Everything is linked to he that dwelleth. Right? So that's that. Only with thine eyes, okay, we get only with thine eyes thou shalt behold and see the reward of the wicked. That's not too deep. Because thou hast, verse 9. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. This verse 9 links right back to verse 1. Because the word habitation means a place where we live. That's it. This apartment is my habitation. I'm an inhabitant. Right? An inhabitant is a person who lives or inhabits a specific place. So I'm the inhabitant of this apartment. This apartment is my habitation. See how that works? So, because I have made God my habitation, verse 1, he that does what? Dwelleth. Dwell means to live. He that lives in the secret, which is the knowledge, place, state of mind that God is within. He that dwells in that place, right? Because I've made God my habitation, meaning I've made him my address. You see how that works? Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge. Remember, the knowledge is the refuge. The refuge is the knowledge. Knowledge is the genosko, which is the knowing. Even the Most High, I told you, the Most High state of mind, Most High state consciousness, Most High thought, right? When you make the Most High state of consciousness, awareness, thought, your habitation, this is where you live. People, let me just talk. Can I talk to you for a second? Check this out. Every one of us, I almost wanted to curse just now. And I'm a man of God and I study the Bible. I shouldn't curse, but every now and then a curse drops out. I'm sorry, but I did. I caught myself, but I felt it try to come out because it's passion. It's passion. But check this out. Every one of us live in various places, right? Your Where you are physically is not where you live. I don't care if you sit in your house in your bed right now with your wife and kids. That's not where you live. That's where your body is. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is heavy stuff. Like, we're going to deep dive, right? This is, you got, look, I said a parable is a story besides a story for comparison. Your very life is a parable. There's a story, there's a second story to your first story. What I mean by that is your outer world is an expression of your inner world. Everything you encounter outside is the result of your thinking. So that means there's two stories. The real story is your thinking, right? The second story is the product of that thinking, the result, the consequences subsequent to that thinking, etc., etc., etc. A story to a story. So when you are encountering things out here and you're fighting with people and you're fighting with this, and that's cool, but that's trimming the tree branches and ignoring the root because the root is the thinking. That's where the real story takes place. And all that is happening now is the playing out of said story in your thinking. So we all live in different places. And when I say live in different places, I mean not your physical address that you and I can see, feel, taste, and touch. I'm talking about your habitation in your psyche, right? Where do your consciousness reside? Where do you reside on the consciousness spectrum? There you go. I like that. Where do you live? Where do you dwell? Where do you abide on the consciousness spectrum? Do you abide on the most high consciousness, or do you abide somewhere in the middle, or are you down somewhere on the low end of the spectrum? Terrible, right? Because that's where depression, anxiety, misery, and all that resides. So you want to definitely raise your vibration. So that verse 9 ties in with verse 1, the habitation. Study that on your own outside of this video. It's very important. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. See, it comes back again. No evil can come to you. Neither shall any plague, which is a pestilence, a disease, a sickness, illness, etc., come nigh thy, what? What's that word? Is that word again? Dwelling. Why? Because if you dwell in that secret knowledge, which is that place, that Christ in me, the hope of glory, that greater is he, that who is the he? God in me. Greater is God that is in me than the God that is outside of me, because there are various gods. There's a lot of gods out here. Some people God is money. Some people God is sex. Some people God is alcohol. Anything you obsess or you give your undivided attention to, worship, right? Anything you are a sycophant, you fawn over, is your God. Anything that moves and controls you is your God. If you can't do without an alcohol, a drink, that's your God. Any addiction that controls you solely, exclusively, entirely is your God. If all you live for is money, money's your God. If all you live for is chasing skirts and having sex, sex is your God. I think they phallic worship, which is worshiping your penis, I think that's what we call something like that. So there's various gods. Let's be clear. There's various gods. So make sure you know who you're serving. Which one, you know? So there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come near thy dwelling. So if you're dwelling in that secret place and there's only one God, the Elohim, El Shaddai, Yahweh, you know, what's some other titles? The El Shaddai, I think I said the all-sufficient one, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Nissi, Jehovah Shalom, God of peace, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the one true God of Israel. If you're dwelling here in Him and Him in you, there's a merger. You know, I'm in Wall Street, and the companies merge sometimes. And sometimes, let's just give you, let's throw out a random name. This is not real. I'm just making it something. Clark Hamilton. When you see a company, Clark Hamilton, that means two people merge. That's their last names. Whoever Clark is, Peter Clark and David Hamilton. They merged their companies together and they named the company Clark Hamilton. And that company now functions as one, operates as one. The more homeostasis, which means balance, there is between the merger, that there is no, in the ideal world, it's just one. There's always going to be discrepancies because we're not in the ideal world. But the concept behind it is that it's one. They merge as one. Why do I say that? Is because you have to we have to get to the point where uh, dwelling, what it means to live in God, is we merge your mind with the God mind. You have to merge your mind with the God mind. And when you merge your consciousness with God consciousness, the same laws apply. What I just said. There is no you and me, there is no separation. It's one. The merger has completed. It's a consummate merger, completed merger. It's only one. We operate as one. We do everything as one. In the ideal world, it's only one. So when you merge with God, Jesus said it best. I and the Father are one. Right? We become one. He says, I pray that they are one as you and I are one. One ship, sonship. Grasp it, get it. Get it. Powerful, powerful mindset to have. You get that. You really get that. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. Simply means the angel. When you see the word angels, again, it means thoughts that come to minister to you. You know, you ever get a great idea or you hear that voice that comes. Those are the angels. They come to minister. Uh, and it says, give these angels charge. Charge in here means responsibility. Like I leave my kids in your charge, meaning in your care. So therefore, the angels, they're in charge of you. Right? You're in their charge. You're in their care, their responsibility to keep you in all your ways. They shall lift you up, keep you in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. What that means is don't jump out the building because you believe in God and say, oh, well, God's going to save me. That's stupid. And the stone represents something here hard. The concrete that you're going to land on is hard. So the angels will keep you, but don't tempt God, in other words. Don't say, okay, well, I believe in God, so I'm going to run in front of this car. You just gotta use wisdom. Don't be stupid, right? Uh, thou shalt tread upon the lion, the adder, the young lion, and the dragon shalt thou trample on the feet. What that the lion, adder, which is a snake, a cobra, poisonous, trample on the feet, dragon. All what those means are very, very ferocious thoughts. You ever see people in the madhouse, Bellevue? There's people walking outside that are completely gone. They're talking to themselves. They're homeless. You know, they're still children of God, but they have completely given up on life or whatever. They succumb to the lion, the adder, the dragon. Those represents very fierce thoughts, very fierce adversarial thoughts. They're not just regular thoughts, they're adversarial, meaning they're of the adversary of your soul. They're the opposer, they're the enemy. Those thoughts are literally enemies of your soul and they're ferocious. They're fierce. That's why they're compared to lions. Lions are courageous. That's why they're called the king of the jungle. They're very courageous. Those thoughts are like lions. They come into your mind so ferocious, so fierce, so strong that they drive you to the madhouse or they make you end up on drugs or sell your body or whatever the case is. So you will trample on these thoughts. Why? Again, it goes back to verse 1. You dwell in. You've made him your habitation. That's where you live. And as long as you live in God, these lions, these tigers, these bears, all these serpents, which are all thoughts that these animals represent thoughts that, and they use these animals uh, parabolically as the first story to get the second story. The second story is these animals represent thoughts. They use these particular animals because they're venomous. They're poison. Snake, poison. Adder, cobra, they're poisonous. A lion, they will tear you up. So their thoughts are poisonous. If they get into your soul, they tear you up like a lion. They will destroy you like a dragon. They'll burn you up. Right? You get some thoughts of anger and rage, and you go out there and you act on it. Right? And now you're sitting in prison, doing 25 to life. The lion and the adder got you. But if you dwell in the secret place, you'll trample on them. That's what it's saying here. Right? And trample on them just simply means you will overcome those. No matter how fierce and how ferocious they be, you learn what's called self-mastery. I have not yet achieved that, but I'm working on it. Work in progress. Uh, because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. That's pretty much it. There's one part that I want to stick a pin in right here, where it says, I will be with him in trouble. I will be with him in trouble. I will be with him in trouble. This is so important that we get this. That's it. But I want to just elaborate on that, and we'll wrap it up because we had 46-minute mark. It kind of went over than I thought, longer than I thought. But it's good stuff. Previous says that I will be with him in trouble. I'm a man of the cloth. I'm a firm believer in God. I'm a student of the arts of theology. I'm very, very, I study science. I study physics, metaphysics, quantum, all that stuff. Right? Just because you are walking with Christ, you are actually more likely to suffer way more trials, tribulations, setbacks, failures. Um, like it's interesting because a lot of people think when you walk with God, your life is supposed to be like I'm happy, I'm with Jesus, and all it's a prop. It is. I'm being honest with you. If you're truly walking with Christ, it's actually the opposite. If you look at the Bible, all of God's people, I mean, they went through hell. Let's just call a spade a spade. Uh, having said that, yes, you are going to get blessings. You're going to be happy. You're going to all that good stuff, right? But I don't want to talk about that, not because I'm negative or not because I don't believe in the good stuff, but because nobody needs help with that. Like if you just like got a promotion and you just got married and you just got kids and you just bought a house, like you don't need help, right? Like nobody needs encouragement when everything's going right. That's the point I'm making. Like when you have everything going good in your life, you don't need a word of encouragement. You don't need a shoulder to lean on. You don't, you right? So I don't. That's why I don't want to like. I don't like need to talk about that because that's the easy stuff. Everybody can deal with winning, right? It's when you're losing that's when you need help. But everybody, when you're winning, it's all good, right? You don't need nobody when you're winning. It's when you're losing. So I want to point out that last verse. I will be with him in trouble. God never said that, even though you're with him, he's with you, he loves you, he's got his arms wrapped all around you. He didn't say just because you're my son and I'm with you and I love you, like that's going to shield you and prevent you and like you are going to be in trouble. But here's that verse. I will be with him in trouble. And most people hate trouble in their lives. I don't like it. Preferably, if I could do without no more trouble in my life, I would have enough. But I'm also conscious and aware that when it does come, not if, when, right? That I got a promise that he will be with me in trouble. And very important, it doesn't mean that I'm not still dwelling in his secret place. Because a lot of times we'll say, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Why is this trouble coming? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? What am I doing wrong? That's a natural reaction. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I need to go fast. Maybe I need to call the church. Maybe I need to go pray. No. Maybe you just need to shut up and sit back and just let life happen. Because he told you right there, I will be with you in trouble, which can be translated. Look, you're gonna be in trouble. Trouble's gonna come your way, but I will be with you. right? So you could be doing all the things you want to do right as much as you can, be as holy as you can, and trouble's still gonna come knocking on your door. And if you don't open the door, you can't stay in the house forever. You gotta come out. You gotta go to work. When you go out to go to work, trouble gonna jump right on your back. Gotcha, right? So it's gonna wait you out, or it's gonna smoke you out. One or the other, it's gonna get you. So this verse is very, very important because it makes you know that one, He's gonna be with you, right? And two, you're not necessarily doing anything wrong. You still dwelling in the secret place. You're still making him your habitation. But just because you're in the secret place and you're making him your habitation does not insulate you from trouble, right? You can't be in a bubble hiding from trouble. You still won't get trouble, even though you're insulated in his bubble. It doesn't matter. You're still going to get trouble. But it's just so important to understand that when the trouble comes, that I will be with you, thus saith the Lord. Till next time, y'all. Peace. Hope y'all enjoyed this. I don't know if you leave a comment, like, whatever. And more importantly, I hope you can put some of it in practice and make your life a little bit better. Peace.